the main event that happened, about 4 or 5 hours ago. Terri Harper, Natalie Zimmerman for the WBO lightweight title. Listen, folks, I'm going to say this respectfully. In the nicest way possible, Natalie Zimmerman did not belong in that ring with Terri Harper. She was undefeated and she had a solid resume, but let's be honest right now, folks. In that fight, Natalie Zimmerman did not belong in that ring with Terri Harper. There's levels to this, and she was not on Terri Harper's level. And that resulted in a landslide of a fight, 99-91 by all three judges in favor of Harper. Not a competitive fight. Zimmerman had some decent-ish moments you could possibly say, but she suffered a nasty cut in the final round, and she made it through the final bell. She did not belong in the ring. All I can say is this. Terri Harper's legit. Natalie Zimmerman is someone that's going to be a solid fighter, probably have some more good wins in her future, but she did not belong in that ring with Terri Harper. And so what's next now? Well, for Natalie Zimmerman, she obviously got to rebuild herself, figure things out along those lines. But for Terri Harper, she needs to go for unification. Kaylen Dubois makes perfect sense. She's the WBC champion. She's already called her out. Make that fight happen, folks. It's time for a better fight than what we just witnessed today. That was not competitive. That was not a good fight. Just let's not do that again. It's time to have Terri Harper fight Kaylen Dubois. And if there's other unification or any other type of fight to make, that works as well. But Natalie Zimmerman was not a good fight today. Terri Harper is much better. She's superior to Natalie Zimmerman. And she proved that today, that she isn't a great fighter. And if there's levels to this, there's no other way to put it. And I'll say this overall, top to bottom as well. This Terri Harper, Natalie Zimmerman card was very underwhelming. Because the co-main event I'm about ready to discuss in a moment was extremely disappointing as well. So it was a very underwhelming, maybe even disappointing is probably the proper word to use here, card that we experienced today. So let's head into now the co-main event. Maxi Hughes, Archie Sharp, the lightweight division. This was a critical fight for both guys. When you talk about Maxi Hughes and Archie Sharp, these are two guys that were looking to rebound their careers and get themselves in position to be competitive once again. After today's performance, neither guy really moved the needle a bunch. Now, Maxi Hughes solidified that win. He had a dominant win. He's not going to have to rebuild himself up much at all. But neither guy made a statement, if you will. What I'm disappointed to see, though, is I had Archie Sharp on this show just a few weeks ago. And the way that Archie Sharp talked in that breakdown of what he's going to expect, which is what for us to expect of him in that fight, did not come to fruition today. And in fact, I'm kind of confused as to what the game plan really was. Why do we have guys just running around over and over and over again and him not wanting to go fight Maxi Hughes? He was wanting to go put on a running clinic today. It was not good fighting. He didn't try to use his jab. He didn't use anything, actually. He didn't even try to go after Maxi Hughes at all. It was, to be honest, lack of better words, it was embarrassing performance. And for Maxi Hughes, could he have possibly done things a little bit better? Maybe made a bigger statement? Maybe, sure. But he did hurt Archie Sharp once or twice in the fight. But overall, Archie Sharp wanted to go out there and run the entire fight. And it's very disappointing to see that. Archie Sharp was moving up to 135 pounds. It looked like it was going to be the weight class that made a lot more sense for him. And it could have elevated himself back into contention once again. But he decides to go out there and just run. And I don't understand why that was the game plan that they had put in place for this fight. It made no sense to me. Because now, here's the problem for him. When you go out there and you have a fight the way that Archie Sharp fought tonight, not only did you take a loss, but now on the backside of that for Archie Sharp, you're now put in a position where fans don't want to watch you. Because of the fact that you went out there and you wanted to run around, you didn't want to engage to any extent, you were just trying to make sure you did not hurt him, you didn't get hurt either, and you resulted in the fact where people don't even want to watch you now. And so now you've now added a loss into your loss column on top of the fact that you've now disappointed a lot of fans and are no longer a fan-appealing fighter right now. That's not a good day for you at the office. And at his age, especially now, yes, what's next for him, I have no idea. He's going to have to work his way back up, obviously rebuild himself up, if that's even what he wants to continue to do. Because after the way he fought today, it just makes you scratch your head a little bit. Like, what are you trying to go out there and accomplish in that fight? It was not a good performance at all. It was embarrassing. And when you look back at that, I have to imagine he's going to look back at this fight with a lot of regret. Because he had the opportunity where if he went out there and did his thing, you maybe could have got a win. Who knows what would have happened? All I know what we saw in this fight was a guy that went out there and just ran around in circles. I don't know how that fight would have went if he actually would have went and engaged. Maxi Hughes, yes, he deserves credit. He got the win. But I have to focus in on a guy like Archie Sharp because we've seen this now too many times in recent fights. And it's just disappointing because you had the opportunity here to defeat Maxi Hughes and get yourself right back into contention, which is where you were at 2 or 3 years ago before this whole past inactivity spout. And so it makes you wonder what's next for Archie Sharp. Obviously, it's going to be rebuilding himself, getting back into some bounce back fights. I don't know what that looks like personally. It's going to have to be a tune-up fight of some sort to make sure you just get yourself adjusted again, fighting again, and aggressive. I don't know. Figure yourself out if you even really want to do this. That's going to have to be the game plan. But it's going to be at least, 2 or 3 more fights until he gets even to a similar standpoint of this, if he even really wants to go out there and make a statement in those fights. And I don't know why we keep seeing this from boxing fans. We keep seeing boxers go out there and not perform. And there's a difference. I get it. 100%. Andre Ward said something very interesting on a podcast recently that I heard. And he talked about the fact that, listen, some of these fights these guys go into, there are long-term effects that happen to the body. We know this. It's a dangerous sport. You don't play boxing. You are a fighter, and you go out there and you have to fight. But at the same time, there is a difference between the likes of what a Floyd Mayweather, an Andre Ward, might I even add a Shakur Stevenson, those type of guys that are not just out there always running. Now, don't get me wrong, there were situations, instances of that, but I mean what we've been seeing recently. The Devin Haney that we saw in Times Square, the Ryan Garcia doing whatever the heck he did in that night, the Canelo Alvarez, William Skull debacle, and now we see a guy like Archie Sharp, and this list goes on. There's a little bit of a difference. That's not good defense. That is not elite of ring awareness. That's none of those things. What we saw today in Archie Sharp and what we see in some of these other fighters is a lack of desire to even get involved in what boxing is. When you step in that ring, I'm not saying you have to go out there, Japanese and Mexican style, get in the thick of things and get beat up hard and go through a brutal fight. I'm not requesting that for every single fighter. Yes, that's entertaining to watch. Of course, seeing what Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr. did and those type of guys do. Yes, those are incredible fights. But I'm at least saying that you're going to step in that ring and you have to fight. You're going to get hurt. You're going to get touched up some. Now, if you have great defense, maybe that doesn't happen to yourself, but you're going to get hit. This is boxing. Your game plan cannot be to go run around in circles for the entirety of a fight and expect to win a fight or even gain fans. And I don't know what this game plan is that trainers and coaches are trying to implement into their fighter to say, you know what? Let's go out there and just put on a display and just go through 12, 10 rounds, whatever your fight distance is. Listen, when we look at this, I know some people don't like Conor Benn, but let's be 100% honest right now. When Conor Benn fought Chris Eubank Jr., Conor Benn gave it his all. He put on what is going to be the fight of the year, maybe the fight of the decade. That's what Conor Benn did. And Chris Eubank Jr. obviously was phenomenal. He deserved that win. He got that win. But still, when we look at Conor Benn, even though he lost that fight, everybody gained some respect for him. Everybody looks at him and now his name is much larger, much bigger, even though he had that loss. Because people look at what he did in that ring, what he laid down in that ring, and how much of effort he put into that fight. He laid it all out there, and for that, people respect him. And he's going to have many other big fight opportunities, whether that be the rematch with Chris Eubank Jr. or that be big fights at 147, 152, or 154, whatever the case may be. When you look at a guy like Archie Sharp and we just witnessed today, that's not going to put you in position for any of those things, because nobody wants to watch that. People that are your fans, and there's lots of Archie Sharp fans. He had a great run, 4 or 5 years ago before the activity spout. That's not going to be the performance that gets you back to where you want to be at again. And so whoever came up with that game plan and thought that was a good idea for today, it was a horrible idea. And there's no way that as they're rewatching this fight right now, tomorrow, in the next coming days, that they're not going to drastically regret what just happened. Because Archie Sharp is at a certain age and point in his career where you can't be having these type of performances and still reach the levels in which you want to reach in your careers. Disappointing. And so to read the exact scorecards from this fight, the scorecards read 120, 108, 116, 112, 115, 113. The 115, 113 was way too close in my opinion. I think the 116, 112 was probably the most accurate fight scorecard there. But regardless of what it was, Maxi Hughes won the fight. Doesn't really matter. All three had it in favor of Maxi Hughes. That's fine with me. It is what it is. Hughes got the win. He deserved it. And as I said, ultimately, the thing that stinks for Maxi Hughes is, while yes, he deserved it. He won that fight. He didn't get to quite make a statement. Same thing like Canelo. Obviously, and it was a little bit better than what Canelo did. But, when you go out there, nobody was entertained by that fight. That was a snoozer. It is what it is. And so when you're at Maxi Hughes' point, obviously it's not the fight that's going to go make you a statement to elevate yourself for a big fight. This is a fight that nobody wanted to watch. And it is what it is. He got the win. Hopefully he has another opportunity. Obviously, there's other guys. I think just to put out there the guy I like to see him fight, Denise Burchinek. I would like to see him make a fight with him that's possible. Obviously, he was a former world champion, just got defeated by Keyshawn Davis on Valentine's Day in February. I would like to see that fight. Denise is going to make his return quite soon, I have to imagine. That would be a fight I like to see. But regardless of what it is, Maxi Hughes got the job done. He won the fight. End of discussion. He did his job. As for Archie Sharp, as I said one more time, I don't know where he goes from here. At the end of the day, when you see fights like this and at his age, you just have to sit back and realize, what are you going to do? At least William Skull, when he went out there and fought that fight, at least he got a massive bag to do so and fought Canelo Alvarez. Archie Sharp doing this against a guy, all due respect, but Maxi Hughes is not Canelo Alvarez and not a massive bag involved here. It's just mind-boggling. I don't get the game plan. It drives me crazy that we had to go witness that today. And once again, this card that we saw today was a very disappointing, underwhelming card.